Welcome back to Half A Hot Rods. If you haven't been here before, this is one of the many projects we're working on. It's a 57 Chevy truck that I pulled out of a field where it had been sitting since 1964, and we're currently trying to make it fit on a 97 GMC 3/4 ton chassis. We're doing it without all the right tools. We're doing it without any budget to speak of, and I certainly don't have all the skills necessary to do this, but we're going to figure it out as we go. Come on along this week as we try and get it ready for its first car show. All right, we're back at it on the 57. We didn't make the 2-week deadline for the car show that I originally wanted to make it to. That one turned out to be like a 2-hour thing, and then it was done, so I'm kind of glad I didn't bust my butt to get it on the trailer and get it down there. But in another 2 weeks, or a week and a half now, there is a bigger car show that I really want to make it to. It's a fundraiser for a good cause, and I'd like to, since I do have a week and a half, I still have to work and do family stuff and house stuff and all that. But since I have 2 or 3 days instead of like one, I really want to drive this on and off the trailer and around the parking lot to do it. So I've made myself a list of what needs to get done. After the last couple videos, I'm pretty confident with how secure the cab is, but there's still a lot of stuff to finish. I want to get the shifter back in it. I'll have to put a battery in it, which means I'll have to go get cables because I don't think it's going to work where it's at. We're going to have to relocate it to the rear. Radiator, which I have the original 57 one that I'm assuming is bad, so I need to find a replacement for that. The 97 was busted up and too big for the 57 chassis, so it went in the trash. Firewall patches, there's a few spots that need to be touched up, but they're mostly done. Bolting down the front clip, I could do it the way it is, but when I cut and trimmed around the bumper horns, I cut some of the structure out, so there's going to be some more welding there. I need to weld the back of the cab. I've just got it tacked in. Get the doors back on it and get the steering column in it. When I say in it, it may end up just being vice gripped in there. However, if I can get the steering column in it and plugged in, battery hooked up, radiator hooked up, then we can start and steer this thing like it's intended to be. You didn't see seat on there because maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I can drive this from the floor or sitting on a bucket, so if we have to do that, we'll do that. Anyway, let's get back to it. I think I'm going to start with welding the back of the cab, checking for stuff here that I need to get to, because that will be hard to get to once the doors are on. So if I get the stuff that's hard to get with the doors on and get that knocked out, then if I get one of the boys home or even my wife to come help me, the doors will be easier with 2 people. And so let's do that. Let's get the stuff that's hard to get with the doors on. So we won't start at the back of the cab, we'll start at the front of the cab. Check this stuff, try and get some of that knocked out, and go from there. Here we go. The one-hand hold, one-hand weld thing works, kinda.
And even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Got a big gap up here, though. Fine. Everything's fine. Well, we've got lots of good news and a little bit of bad news. First good news is I was able to put the camera back after I dropped it on the floor and smashed it. I thought it was still recording, so I just kept rolling, but it turned out it wasn't, so here we are. So you guys missed me cutting out the braces for the cab. I feel like that's a pretty big step. Those have been in there a long time since we first cut the 57 cab. So there it is without. So much room for activities.
Aerobics in here? So many activities!
Now it's time to get on to the rest of our list. As you can probably hear, it's raining. The good thing about that is it's not hot. It's only like 70 degrees, which feels wonderful. The bad news is, even though we don't have fan noise now, we're going to have rain noise. So we won't be doing a lot of talking today, which might also be good news. All right, here's our list. Shifter I can do right now. Battery, radiator, have to wait till I get front clip on. Firewall patches are almost done. Bolt down front clip has to wait till I get the clip on. Weld the cab back, we could do right now. Doors, I'm going to wait for help. Column, we could do right now. Oil cooler, we have to wait till we get plugs. So, right now, we'll just start at the top of the list. We can do the shifter. Let's rock and roll. Okay, shifter's in. That was harder than it needed to be because first some dummy put the little spacer upside down. And second, there's a lot of holes in that floorboard for the boot. Way more than the 4 that there needed to be. But we got it. Alright, shifter. Battery has to wait, radiator has to wait, firewall patches in progress, front clip wait. Weld cab back, I'm gonna wait. I want to do the column next. Let's try to do the column. Let's see what happens. It's just gonna make it look more like a truck. It may be childish, but I'm the child in charge here. I like to take most of this out too, cut it where I marked, cut that edge off, We'll swing her over. It'll be crooked, but it'll be good enough for now.
Rinse, repeat.
Okay, so we got some of the cuts cleaned up on my modified 97 steering bracket. And what I also discovered was the upper here needs to be tied into the cab, because when you push the clutch, the whole thing wants to flex. So that's obviously no bueno for caca. So we got to tie it into the cab, I think, in both places, and then it should be pretty solid. You can see originally it would have come back to the 97 cab. So we're just going to try and duplicate that. I'll start making some pieces, but we'll probably let Wyatt do the welding on it. Yeah. But I've got that steering column more or less where I want it. The problem is where it comes through the firewall is not centered with the gauge cluster. So these gauges, which obviously aren't going to work right this moment. Ultimately, I'll try and get them working. But no matter whether they work or not, it will drive me absolutely batty to look at that and see the steering column off center. So I'm going to do the best I can to center it. Right now, I'm just bringing it through and then going whoop. So the steering wheel is centered, but it's kind of cockeyed, but it's less. Anyway, ow. That door opening's a little short. So I'm going to work on making some pieces to tie that together, and I think I'm going to strip some of this wiring out because I kept all the HVAC and all the stereo and stuff. I'll keep the power leads for the stereo from the fuse box, but all the rest of that, there's no sense keeping it because I'm going to want to run new for speaker wire and stuff anyway. And let's be honest, that's way down the road. The stereo for this truck for the near future, let me show you. It's probably the shop stereo with a battery stuck in it. So it works pretty well for a single cab pickup, I'm just saying. And the cost is just right because I've already got it. So yeah, I don't know how much I'll film of stripping wires because that's going to suck a lot. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of follow them back. I've got some of them labeled, some of them I don't. Like I can tell that I think that's maybe this is what went to the back. I don't know what this is. It was tied up next to the brake pedal. I preach about labeling everything, but I didn't label near as much as I thought I did. I'm thinking this is the part that went across under the dash because there's some light sockets in it. Those are for interior lights. Might keep those. But a lot of the rest of this is going to be just trash. Like this stuff. What's this say? HVAC. So, yeah, just pulling it out of the cab and getting some of that extra bracketry out of there makes this look so much better. This is what I was going for. We got a long way to go, but this much progress sure makes me happy. So I'm gonna take everything out of here, vacuum it again so I'm not laying in metal shavings, and because I think I've got most of the cutting done I'm going to do in there for a little while. So yeah, I'm going to be a good wife and vacuum out the house and do some cleaning up, and then we'll be back. Alright, we're back. I did some wiring cleanup, did some interior cleanup, took a break to help a certain goober with his truck. So here's all the wiring I pulled out. Used the stuff I labeled as well as a little bit of previous experience and some common sense to eliminate most of those, so hopefully I'm right. I've still got some things here that need to be identified, but for the most part, I think we've got her pretty well stripped down to what we're going to use in the cab. So I figured out when I was playing around with this that the metal that the clutch pedal and everything is connected to is not super strong because it's not connected. So it wants to flex. So we're going to have to connect from the firewall to here. That'll help with our steering too. And then we'll do it over here too. And that'll shore up all that and make these pedals happier, give us something to hang our steering column off of. So that's where we're at now. We're going to do a little more metal work and welding, and then we can put the column back in. So yeah, this is pretty exciting to have it this cleaned out. Oh, and I made the glove box latch work, so that's cool. Just put a little PB blast on her, worked it a little bit, and it decided to work. All right, so you want to stand there? Okay. That's kind of what we're working with. We got to connect that plate down there to the 57 dash. That's coming from the 97, obviously. So don't pay any attention to those holes. We'll get them eventually. So these are ones I need to identify. More than likely the thick orange is going to be power supply for something. These are all routed to the HVAC and the radio that went back into the main harness. There was a separate harness that I pulled out. And then there's a handful that went to there's a couple that went to the OBD ports, and a couple power and ground, I think is what they're going to be, that came off the fuse box that went to those items too. So once we have key on power, then we'll identify those and just mark them with what they are and use them later for radio and heater and that kind of stuff. So we won't have to find new ways to tap in the fuse block. So bracing the dash, we've added more jobs to the to-do list in order to finish the ones that were already on the list. Yep. All right, we'll see what we can do. No big deal. Got the windshield wipers right there. They work real good. Probably because they're connected to the motor. I could disconnect the motor and just put a lever in there and work them back and forth that way. Manually. Alright, less talking, more working. I gotta figure that out in there. I think we're just gonna take a piece of square tube and then just burn it in. So I'm gonna straighten that metal out a little bit, push that clutch pedal up where I want it, and then we'll get that trimmed and fit so that we can just burn it. Burn it! Burn it in. 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 So we'll do the same thing on the other side of this, maybe? Yeah, may as well. I think that'll work just as good. The hard part's going to be grinding stuff in there to prep it for welding. So we'll do another one over here. And maybe we'll connect the two across. That would probably be wise too. Should have cut that straighter. And in true half-A fashion, we're cutting the braces off the brace we took out of the cab. I left that hole on purpose so the smoke could get out.
A little bit of a fire, nothing to be worried about.
Here with I may or may not have done that earlier. But I had a steering wheel and a bucket seat.
You have a steering wheel? Hell.
Look at that handsome hound dog. Oh, he's so handsome. Good boy. About time to go get some dinner. So we're just going to mark off, brace the pedals, and then we might be able to mark off, no, we can't mark off weld the cab back. Because there's a lot more to it than what Wyatt's doing. But we've braced the pedals, so the thing I added to the list is now off the list. Rock and roll. What do you think, Hound Dog? We gonna make it to this show? Driving on and off the trailer? Yeah, sure, whatever. Alright, we're back. It's the next day. I think it's time to hang some doors. Wait till a little later, I'll show you what I worked on in the cab. But we've got a few minutes. I've got Wyatt's help. We're going to try and get the doors hung on the hinges. I got all them bolted back up after I made an extra trip to town. I think that was 2 or more trips than I wanted to make. And got all the right bolts, so they're bolted in. And now we're going to bolt some doors up. And we're going to do that with a cherry picker so nobody's got to hold onto the door while the other person starts the bolts. So here we go. Get a little looby-dooby on that. Rather not actually manage to get the door shut and then it doesn't want to open again.
Boy, that'd be funny.
They did before, open and shut, so. Now I got it all gooped up. I don't really want to touch it. Closer than I expected it to be. And she needs to go forward, so.
The whole door or just the top?
I don't know, maybe just the top.
It's kind of hard to tell about the fenders.
Yeah, well, this gap here. The bottom's hard to tell for sure, but you can imagine where that line would be if it wasn't a cobbled together mess that I did. So, maybe I'll have to take them all loose in order to shove it forward, but we'll shove the top forward.
So just take off your top ones and just push forward a little bit.
I don't know if it'll move without loosening the bottom though. You want to kind of hold up on it?
Gentle, it should be okay.
to go up too.
You got to do up and down adjustments too? How's body line look?
Now it seems too tight at the front. Maybe the whole
I
thing
think-
needs to come up.
I think the whole front of the door needs to come up and this needs to stay where it is. I mean, this can stand to go down a little bit, limit that body line. But like that one's pretty good. That one's pretty
You want it to
good.
be even. See, this is sticking out this way, so that hinge needs to go in a little. That's tight, but this I'm pretty sure is rubbing, but this is also been crashed, I think.
Yeah. Speed up.
So that's really better than I expected.
Afternoon.
It's not too bad.
Huh?
I said it's not too bad. That line is wide, but pretty even. This one's a little tight here. We'll have to see when we get the fender on how that looks, but it's, I don't know. The whole thing's been bent once, so. We might need to get the welder and stuff out of there. And the door.
Right, I grew up doubting me.
Still hitting on the bottom?
I think
Is the door bent?
yeah. I think it's
Oh, the door might be bent under from sitting on it. Ooh, shit. No, that's not resisting, because it's not even attached. What's hitting? Everything?
it seems like it's up right here. But it's acting right.
Maybe we gotta move those hinges out at the front. Take them loose, slide them out so the door can finish pivoting.
So take these loose,
Yeah,
cab side.
yeah.
But I mean that looks like just to where it's at, doesn't it look pretty close?
It's gonna be real close.
Especially the front.
I think it's just the hinges can't get back.
Sucked in too much.
Oh yeah, it's way further in. So that's I think.
Let me loosen those and move it further this way, or what?
Oh, it's got them Batman screws in it. Yeah. Look at them. I learned from the YouTube those are called clutch screws, but
Not Batman screws?
no, that's weird. They definitely look like they should be Batman screws, but
I'm Batman.
Look how vicious he is.
so we can get it to shut, but it's sucked in too much. So I think we'll adjust that striker out. Not terrible up the top. It's snug all the way around. And it's tight.
Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Come on.
They probably adjusted it in when the weather strips failed. What are you doing?
Look at that head go.
Better watch out, he's a trained killer. Better watch out, he's a trained killer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, don't kill me, Hound Dog.
Hound, are you a trained killer? Oh, no, I want to take a nap. What? Just let me take a nap.
Now he's all dirty.
You dirty hound dog? Are you happy, dirty hound dog? Well, we've got doors on. That's good. They still need a lot of adjustment to be right. But let's mark them off the list. All right. I had to add heater hoses on because we need to loop those so they don't puke all over the floor or the ground or the trailer or everything else. But that's where this week's progress has to end because I have to go back to work. So, by the time I'm done with my responsibilities next week, I'll have maybe 2 days worth of work I'll be able to put in on it. And one of those days I'm probably going to have to find battery cables and a radiator. So, I don't know. You think we're going to make it? Maybe. Are we going to drive it on? Maybe. Are we going to get it there regardless? I hope so. All right. Well, as always, I appreciate you watching. Come back and see us next time around. We'll see how much further we get, see if we make it to that show. And don't forget to check out the other videos, see how we got this far. Click like and subscribe if you think that's the right thing to do. And we will see you next time.